to Promo Insiders, the ASI Media podcast that covers the issues that matter most to the promotional products industry. I'm Teresa Hegel, and today I'm joined by Francis Pierrel, CEO of LR Paris. He has had a long career in the fashion world, and now he's in the promotional products world, and we're just going to talk about, start to finish, all of that. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So I guess my first question is simply, what attracted you to the promotional products industry in general and to LR Paris in particular? And really, how much did you even know about this industry before joining them?
What attracted me? Nothing. It was never my dream, to work for this industry. But no, to answer properly, I've met my partner, Charles Doliger. He's a veteran in this industry. He's a third generation as well. Our company has been created in 1959. And then he said, "Look, come to my showroom. I'm going to show you what we're doing." And I came to this showroom and I see all these beautiful products and I see all these beautiful brands that I know most of them because they are like in everybody's home. And right. I was just like, how is it possible that your small little company can work with such a roster of brands? And then he told me his little secret sauce, and I was just like, wow, I could be cooking next to you, and we could be cooking together because I think you have something special, but I think I can also add something from my experience in a very different industry.
So add your secret sauce to his secret sauce.
We have now a special sauce that we keep inventing and improving, every day. It's not in the box yet.
Okay. So had you really heard of promotional products before? What was your impression of them before joining?
Well, there is a word in English, for there's the swag, and I've never liked the swag. I tend to. My career has been done in let's say elevated brands, so we try to stay away from the swag, but at the same time we all the companies I work for, we produce our own products, so I never really had the need, to go outside, because when you dream something, well, you find a way to make it because that's the job. Right. And you make it and you put your own brand on it, whether it's outside or it's inside or it's just a label. But when you want a product, you make it. You don't go outside because you control the whole chain. I come from the retail and the fashion industry, so I never had such a need. I didn't know much about this industry, but now that I'm in the industry, I know there is a very large potential for disruption. It is an industry that is inventing itself and certainly reinventing itself. So I'm excited to be there because I'm not there to continue to do what everybody has done and hopefully to try to find a niche or a specialty.
Yeah. Okay. So let's kind of bring it back. You've been in the fashion industry, retail industry for a while, but how did you start out? And was this what you wanted to do initially, or was there something else, some other dream you had for your life before entering fashion?
Yes, I had. I was a rugby player, so my dream was to play rugby. Everywhere I could in Europe, make money doing so, and then. But then, when you play this game, you tend to break a lot of things on your body, right. And then the more you break them, the less you can play. But I had a chance to do. I was in Scotland at the time, because it's a big land for rugby, and then I was working at the Michelin tire factory. And then through their program, I did an MBA there in the local business school. And then I met a guy, a fantastic guy called John Fernie. He's a retail guru in the UK. And he said, look, food retailing is the future. You need to focus your dissertation on that. And then I did a dissertation about own branding in the food world. Mm-hmm. And then the idea was to say, when the supermarkets, they create their own brands, are they going to be better than the national brands, or are they going to price under, to cut the main brands? And there was clearly a model in France, where they were going lower to cut the brands, and then in the UK to go above the brand to be even better than them. And then the idea was to try to try to foresee the future. That was the subject of my dissertation. By doing so, I fell in love with food retailing, but even more with branding. Even though my dream was to work into food retailing and then go there and then invent the future, work for Marks and Spencer and their brand San Michael, but he didn't want me, didn't hire me. And then one day I meet a guy. He says, look, my business model is very simple. Brooks Brothers in the US. I go there twice a year. I basically see what's new, what they've invented, and then I reproduce everything in France. And he said, do you want to run my stores? And then I said, why would I do that? He said, well, you have an MBA, you should know, right? And I said, yeah, I have an MBA, I know. And then all of a sudden, I had to run 30 stores. I didn't know much about retail, but that notion of branding was always behind me. Whether you copy a brand or you create a brand, that was me. And then that was the beginning in the apparel world, but then slowly I moved into the fashion world. I work for Esprit, then I work for Diesel, then I work for Lacoste, then Ralph Lauren, and then Urban Outfitters. So that's I didn't do many brands or many companies. I'm kind of a loyal guy, but I've learned a lot through the process.
Yeah, so I mean, I did want to talk about some of those high-profile kind of positions in the fashion world. And I think you kind of ran through most of the ones that I was going to mention, but like, what are some of the big achievements you made during your time in fashion?
Like fashion is there is fast fashion, but fashion is moving fast. No matter what. Because it's very focused on the client. But I lived like three phases. In my life. The first phase was like the stores taking the power. Okay, the brands realized that, okay, if I distribute through a third party, okay, my brand is exposed and compared to all the other brands, but the narrative of my brand, of what we stand for, is not shared. So all these brands, they say, okay, wait a second, if I have a store, I've got my own employee, my own presentation, I can create my universe. Then I can actually bring value to my brand, but also command, what the consumer would know about my brand. But then soon after that, of course, digital comes into place, and it starts disrupting all these like very well controlled. I know your brand, even though it's in your own store, it's exposed, to the universe, across countries, and then. And you say, okay, well, how do I reconcile the fact that I've got a lot of stores, but I also have now a digital distribution, and you had to merge it. The beauty of digital is it brings you all the information you've always dreamt about having, in a brick and mortar world, and then you use them to make your stores even better. So that kind of that was the phase of omnichannel.
Okay. But
then there was a third phase, right, where data takes over. Okay, so now everything that you want to apply across the board. So that's my life in a retail fashion world, but. If I go through the brands I work for, at Diesel, I arrived in early 2000 in the US, and my job was to sell jeans to Americans, basically reinvent the lifestyle that goes with the jeans to the people that invented this lifestyle. And by the way, they were also very expensive, So that was my job, and then we did it pretty well. At Lacoste, it was how do you reposition a brand, in a different country that its country of origin as high as it is in its country of origin, and then leveraging the core item, which is the polo shirt, and then sublime it, make it the must buy item. At Ralph Lauren, it was all about the AUR, the average unit retail. How do you command a full price because people love your brand so much, that it's not about how much it costs, but how much I love it. But at Ralph Lauren, it was also bringing together, the experience in the stores and the experience online. When online could have been, discounted and promotional, and then in the stores could be very elevated and luxury. How do you put all of this together? And then I worked for Club Monaco as well. I didn't mention it earlier, but Club Monaco was owned by Ralph Lauren. I was the CEO for Club Monaco while I was running the the retail distribution for Ralph Lauren, but there it was like it was all about the quality. It was
Yeah.
about the cashmere. How do you take the cashmere quality, okay, and then you dust it. It was like very like the old man, that wants to be soft and then warm, and then you bring fashion. You
Mhm.
bring fashion design, leveraging a very traditional quality, and we did pretty well.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, with Ralph Lauren, I always think I always see them doing some very like innovative things with like customization. I know they had like polo shirts that you could go online and kind of put your own spin on it, which I think, of course, really ties back to the promo industry because it's so much about customization and personalization and, branding. So I always kind of keep an eye on, you know, the different like things that Ralph Lauren is doing. Um, so, obviously you've had like a kind of long and storied career so far, doing a lot of, different things, different areas. How does that background put you in a unique position to lead LR Paris into the future?
Well, when you're a retailer, you think like a retailer, and
Mhm.
you're obsessed about one thing. It's your client, your end user. Like, why would somebody pay the money to get the product that I've created? And then not just pay the money, but want it so much that they are willing to pay the ticket price. And in the world of promotional product, it is a B2B organization where the end user is not top of mind, like, because you're trying to transact with your client, but your client has clients and they are the end user. And what I'm trying to bring here is like really thinking like that retailer. Forget the middleman, which is the person you transact with, but think about who they want to impress with that product. And I think that thoughtfulness, into the product, even though you have to work with budgets and everything, is for me is paramount. And this is the difference between a great product and just a swag. You know, uh, it's a product that you want to keep, or a product that is worth keeping. It's a product I want to put on my desk and product that I want to put on my coffee table. If I achieve that as me, the supplier of these products, well, then my client, the brand on the other side, they would be happy because their brand now belongs inside the house of their client, or on their head, or on
Yeah.
their shoulders, or while they're traveling. Where the last thing you want to, and I have that on my desk, I'll show you this. Okay, this is a New
Yeah.
York trash bin. You know,
Okay.
you don't want your product to belong to this place
Did you have
because
that on your desk so you always remember that
no,
mandate not to
I
finish
have
in the
it. I
trash?
have it here, but just by chance because I like the nod to New York. I love New
Yeah.
York, but it's a good reminder. I use it a lot, to my people at LR Paris. So like,
Mhm.
is the product that you are developing for your client, is it going to finish here? Because if it does, their brand will be there as well, and this is the last thing you want to happen.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, you're right. Like, promotional products that are created thoughtfully, that are there are things that people want. Like they keep them for years. They're happy to wear them. Some people will buy, logo products from brands because they're so cool. But there is so much of that stuff that is I think the term people sometimes use now is brand fill, where it's like it's made and just thrown away right away and nobody wants it. And like that's bad for the environment, it's bad for the companies, it's bad for the industry as a whole. Like we need to get
Exactly.
away from that whole mindset. But it is a
Yeah.
shift, I think, in a lot of people's
Yeah.
minds.
Yeah. Exactly. And I keep saying, like if you behave like a distributor, you're obsessed by the transaction you're going to do with your clients. At LR Paris, I believe that we are a product agency. So we create solutions, that have a tangible expression through the product. Yeah, but it's a marketing act at the end of the day. It's a vehicle that carries the brand of our client to impress their end clients. So we are certainly more of an agency, a product agency, not an advertising agency, than a distributor of products. To that sense, we don't have a catalog. Because I don't know what product you will need, so
Yeah.
the catalog is in here, is in the head, and then we are a service, we are bringing a solution that will express itself into a product.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, you mentioned before that, branding is something you fell in love with. Um, let's talk a little bit more about just like the idea of branding and branded merch. Like why do you love it? Why is it important? Why should people care about branding?
Well, if you go to the etymology of the word, branding is just like putting a logo on something. I think that we can go way beyond that. It's the product, if it's thoughtful and well thought, is the expression of the brand. Whether you can see the brand at first or it's just a signature. We developed a lot of like porcelain trays, and with our own designers, we develop patterns, inspired by the brand, and so it's a very decorative item. And then in the back of the tray, the porcelain tray, there is a signature, and the signature is the brand. So the branding, as such, happens in an invisible part, just as a reminder, but it's all over the design of the product because it's in line with the brand codes as opposed to be the brand itself.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
if you think about luxury, is the same. You luxuries or in the fashion, but let's say luxury, you can use the monogram of a big brand, and you can put it right in the middle, and some people like that. And then sometimes you use the code of the brands, okay, and it's just a signature inside. And I think our industry can do exactly the same, and then just the act of just branding something on a predefined place, on a predefined product, is necessary sometimes, but you can go way beyond that, and
yeah,
now
yeah.
there is no limit.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so true that like if your if the brand is really strong for a company, like you could have a product that doesn't have a logo anywhere that you could see at all, but still know like the person would know like, oh, I know this is from that company, that brand. Like this just kind of screams that branding. But you have to be strong, I guess, in all of the branding messages you put out for that to work.
Yeah, think about all the big brands, like Apple, the Yankees, McDonald's, like these codes are so clear and so close. They don't even need to put their brand name on it. It's just that full expression. And I think what we do at LR Paris and some of our competitors, but not the mass in this industry, is we become an extension of the brand we're working with. We take the time to study them, or to read their brand books, and then to be really part of who they are. And then somehow we are their internal agency, even though we are from the outside.
Right.
That brings far more added value into the product because the obsession is people want to keep it. Sometimes I say people should want to steal the product. Imagine if I can just like that is work well done.
Right, right. Okay, so I like that because it takes it beyond. Usually we say, oh yeah, people should want to have it, they should want to wear it, but no, they should want to steal it from you. I like
Steal it.
that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we've touched on this a little bit, but I'd love to talk a little bit more about, what your plans for LR Paris are, in 2020, 25 and beyond. Like, where do you want to take things? I mean, where is that secret sauce, and how are you going to kind of, you know, bring it to the world?
Well, I'm not going to share my secret sauce because since
Because it's
it's
secret.
secret, it's I'm not. If you want to become a customer of ours, like you can experience it, you can taste it, but I still won't share it with you. It's like my favorite cake. But look, we are definitely in an acceleration phase. With a strong focus in the US, but we have an office also in France to serve Europe because our big US corporation clients, they have also their offices over there, and
Yeah.
they want us to be international, at least across the three main continents. That acceleration, is like developing further our business and our relationship with our big clients, and then certainly acquiring new clients. For that, we are hiring a lot of salespeople. So if you listen to me and you're looking for a fantastic place to work, you never know, you can call me. We're not hiring everybody, but why not? But more seriously, like behaving like an agency, and then remembering every morning that we are a product agency. We are not a distributor. We are not a catalog sellers. We have our job is to curate, and then to curate because we understand the brand and we understand their clients. That is definitely the focus for the next few years. The other thing that I've noticed talking to a lot of people in the industry, servicing the products, whether it's the product itself or the way to bring the product to the client, comes with a lot of mistakes, and this is one of the main reasons why people switch supplier. And I want us to have a KPI of 0 mistakes visible to the client. So I encourage doing the mistakes internally, because that's the way you learn. That's the way you improve the process. You need to acknowledge them. They are never personalized. It's never about the person. It's about the process. But really, really, really have to do everything possible so the client never experiences the mistakes you're creating. You just create the mistakes to learn and to improve your process, so then you can continue the acceleration. And I think the last that is very, very important for me is cultivate the human relationship, because in a world where everything gets digitalized and automatized and then self-shopping, and our industry is going to go through that. It's already there, but if the client can shop without me, why would they use me? Okay. And if this happens, Amazon is going to do it, because if it's just about distribution, availability of stock, and ease of shopping, Amazon is going to be better than any one of us. Okay. But if it's about relationship, human relationship with a client in front of us, to understand who are their client on the other side, to digest their brand, and to propose something that is very specific to them, I think we have a future. But it's about the human thing. If an AI or an automatized software can do it, well, we won't be needed, It's just going to be robots. Now, of course, a part of this business, this big industry, is going to be automatized. Okay, the simple products, the simple brandable products. Why not? I think it makes a lot of sense. But the more curated ideas or items, or a bit more specific or unique, I think we have a great future in front of us.
Yeah, there's still that human element that people want and crave, and that you need to get those actual creative ideas for people.
And the expertise, because it's not just about creating a product, right? It's about bringing the product to the country. It's about producing the product in the right place. It's about understanding what it costs to do the product, or how to remove elements or add elements to a product to customize it, but also to achieve a specific budget. All of that is going to be hard to automatize. You need to cater. But if you're obsessed by your clients and their clients, then we definitely have a chance.
Nice. So I think this has been a great conversation. I'm just going to wrap it up with one. Actually, this is a question I didn't have on my pre-question list, but now I'm just curious. So rugby was your first love, but you said you got kind of beaten up doing it. What do you do when you're not working now? What are your hobbies?
I run.
You run?
Yes. Yeah. I've run 17 marathons. So I try to do one a year.
Okay.
I've done 7 New York. So it's not always about New York because the tickets are hard to get. But that's what I do. It's not about running the marathon. It's the process that gets you to be able to run a marathon, and the discipline that it takes every morning, to get outside, whether it's hot or cold, is the discipline to prepare your gear, and then, but also I'm a big shopper, so I love shopping for all these items and all this tech that comes with it. But it's also like it frees my mind, I love listening to podcasts or to the audiobooks, So I keep saying I read a lot of books, but I listen to more books than I read.
I think it counts. It's the same thing. It's just
it counts, right?
Sense.
It counts and goes, and then and then sometimes you go into the phase where you forget what you're doing. But and I live in I'm mostly in New York, but my house is in Connecticut. It's a beautiful background, to run every morning. And you have to be careful not to meet a bear or to run into a fox or something like this. But besides that, it's fantastic. That's what I do. Otherwise, I play a little bit of music. I've got a lot of I'm not a good musician, but I can touch a little bit everything.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, it was really great talking with you today, Francis. This was a great conversation, and I appreciate you taking some time with us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.